Okay, so welcome Zivanai Masango, all the way from Denver, Colorado. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Man, how's the weather that side? It looks sunny and it looks bright.
It's super cold though. It's super cold. We just had a record-breaking snow storm on Sunday.
Is it?
Yeah, it was the third biggest since 1913. So the sun is out, but there's ice and snow everywhere. It's crazy.
Makes you miss home, man. Makes you miss home
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
All right, so thank you very much for joining us right here on the podcast. Listen, now we want to talk about your new single, Sando, which talks about appreciating what you've got before it's gone. I feel like
Yes.
you might have just wrote this song specifically for or after the death of our reggae artist, Soldier Love from Zimbabwe.
His death and what I read, people writing after that was a big factor for sure, but it wasn't the only situation that got me thinking about how we don't appreciate people as much as we should before they go. Um, there were several uh, situations in the last year or so where I just found myself thinking, man, if only people had given, had celebrated these people when they were still alive. Um, yeah, it's a really strange thing that people do, that we wait for somebody to die, and then all of a sudden we are showering them with praises that we didn't give them when they were still alive.
Yeah, and the same feelings also come through when we talk about artists that have gone or recently passed away. Like, for example, a couple of years ago, we lost Oliver Mtukudzi, who was one of your mentors and people that you've shared the stage with. Do you feel the same? Like what you feel now and then when Oliver moved on.
Um, I certainly uh, miss him and wish he was still here. Uh, but at least, with him, people used to give him the respect that he deserved when he was still here. Um, but we 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 still kind of took it for granted that he was. I speaking for myself. I took it for granted that he was still going to be here for a while, and yeah, I regret that I didn't take the time to really you know do some more projects with him and try to collaborate with him more when he was still alive, because we he sang that atina nguva yatinofunga kuti tinayo, and that's really true. We 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 always relax and think we have more time than we do.
Yeah. Why do you think this is? I mean, you've just written the song. Why do you think this is it is like what it is in our society where we fail to say, "Hey Joe, you're doing good. I mean, brilliant stuff that you're doing. Hey Sivanai, thank you for the music and we appreciate you before you're gone." Why do you think it's like this?
I don't know. Um, you know, it's a very difficult thing to try and decipher. But I part of me thinks that um, we tend to compete with each other without even knowing that we're doing that. Um, we wanna one up each other, and be better than the next person. And I think in our minds sometimes we think that if we give somebody respect and celebrate them, we are elevating them above us. And but once that person is gone, then that sense of competition just goes away, and then we wake up and start to want to give respect because that sense of competition that we might not even know we are engaged in is gone. So um, yeah, I find that we tend to think that when if we respect and celebrate somebody, we are putting them above us, which is not a bad thing to do. Uh, to put somebody, above us, if but there's just this sense of competition in people's minds that we don't even realize we are engaged in. I think. I think that's a big part of it. But I mean, it's not the only reason. I don't think, but um, it's very difficult to figure out why people do that.
Artists came out when these two huge icons. I mean, we've had artists moving on and artists dying in Zimbabwe, but it was not the same with Oliver Mtukudzi and then now Soldier Love, because this is the very first time we started seeing the government say, "Hold on a minute, this person can actually is a hero, even though they've never gone to to the war or to the battlefront. This person can be treated like a hero for the actions that they have taken within music." And a lot of people would love to believe that there are so many other things that a lot of people would think might give you that consideration of being named a national hero or liberation hero, and certainly not music. But then we saw that change when oliver Oliver died, and then now Soldier Love again. Do you think that music in Zimbabwe has come to that place where it is now being recognized truly, not only just as a big art form or as a contributor to the society, but also in the manner of politics and social settings, etc., etc.?
I mean, the fact that um, uh, the government has used music before as a tool to advance their agenda. I remember like the Honde Minda era, where the government used music and musicians really strongly to push their agenda. Uh, that alone tells me that they know, you know, that music is a powerful tool to change people's minds, to effect change in the way people see things. So yeah, definitely, that tells me, that they do recognize the power and the importance of music. But I don't know uh, that they give it the respect it deserves unless it serves their purposes. I still feel like there's not there hasn't been enough done to support musicians, to really help them have secure and steady careers. For example, the piracy thing, you know people can freely sell other people's music on the street and nothing happens to them. uh, that clearly shows that the uh, the powers that be uh, you know do not have the desire as much as they should to help the musicians and artists make the most of their careers.
You touched there on security, and I think it's a very big issue. Almost everybody who produces something, who goes into the studio, produces something, doesn't want their stuff being sold for free. I mean, it'll be not even only musicians, even as a journalist. Imagine just you write a piece or an article, and then you find it somebody, you know, selling it. It's plagiarism and all of those things. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
What do you think can be done about it? Just your quick response on that. What do you think can and should be done about that?
Man, it's really difficult in this especially in this internet era, because somebody can just download it and you know and start pushing it and selling it or sharing it. Um, but I just think that if the enforcement of laws of piracy, of laws against piracy, are the biggest tool that we have to fight against it, and also just educating people that piracy is not a crime with no victim. People tend to view it as a victimless crime, because there's a lot of times there's not like any physical thing that I mean there's a physical thing where people sell CDs and stuff, but with cases where music is just downloaded from the internet, it's people don't actually see it as stealing, because there's not a physical thing that's been stolen. Uh, but I mean, if people were to be educated on what it takes to come up with you know to come up with such a product, they I think they would start to understand that, yeah, it's actually stealing from somebody. It what it takes to produce music, the time that you put into it, the maintenance of instruments, the you know it takes a lot. It takes a lot. So it's not just something that should be just taken by people for free.
And I know, especially coming from your angle, where you basically produce and do almost everything alone. We'll get to talk about that in a few minutes, but things have changed within the music industry in the past year. Let's talk about 2020. I mean, COVID hit everybody. I remember seeing and looking at some of your posts on Facebook, on social media, where you will be traveling and visiting places and playing, but that was not to be, because now you're under a lockdown, you're restricted and stuff like that. But then I was also very happy to see that you sort of changed the way you were presenting your music. You sort of started a regime that almost everybody wished they could do or have the ability to do, which is record yourself, do all these funny skits and all this good music and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on music going forward with what you have experienced in 2020?
Ah, yeah, it's difficult. The the music industry is becoming more and more uh, difficult, because the biggest way, unless you're a touring musician who tours all the time and gets in front of audiences with your physical CDs that people can buy from you at the shows, the biggest way for distributing music is downloads these days, and streaming. I mean, streaming is even more than downloads. But musicians don't get anything. It's that they get. I was just laughing the other day when I was seeing that you know Spotify or iTunes, they give me a fraction of a cent, a fraction of 1 cent for every stream. uh, and you need millions and millions of streams to be able to you know to make anything that's meaningful from from streaming. So that has made it much more difficult for musicians to make any meaningful money. So there's need for musicians to diversify uh, uh, their approach to their careers. Um, there's other things that you can do. Sync licensing uh, makes much more money for musicians than regular streaming and stuff. Um, and just being more creative about uh, you know music, teaching, uh, you know uh, that's another avenue that you can take. Um, yeah, but I think especially for the Zimbabwean situation, uh, it would depend very strongly on how the economy performs going forward. Uh, if people don't have uh, disposable income to to pay for for music, or to then there's no way musicians can sustain their careers. It would be very difficult. So my hope and prayer is that uh, things get better in Zimbabwe, the economy gets better, and I think the arts industry will get better as well.
Yeah, a lot of people think it is very easy to just get your music online and have it streaming. As you rightfully said, there's an article that came out in South Africa, which talks about artists being paid over a third of a cent, and they put that into some sort of perspective, and they said you need about 800 streams to buy a cup of coffee. Okay, 300,000 streams to pay rent,
Yeah.
and 650,000 streams to be a full-time working musician, earning the equivalent of like $15 per hour.
Yes.
So, and then if you put that into perspective in terms of how many people have streamed or watched or liked or viewed on YouTube and stuff like that, you find that these figures are very, very low.
Yes.
And so you think the only hope is for the music industry to be opened once again, and for artists to start touring and performing live. This will save their careers.
It will help, for sure. It will certainly help. Uh, and yeah, the just the impact of not having been able to to do live shows in the last year has really shown me, like I was like we were talking about, you don't realize what you have until it's gone. So it was really eye opening for me, um, to be in lockdown and not being able to play in front of people and make money that way. You don't realize how big and uh, how important it is until it's gone. And I, for one, am never going to take it for granted again that I get a chance to be in front of people and play for them, and have actual people come to my shows and pay at the door and help me get income. So yeah, and I think it's the same for the audiences as well. I see a lot of people post that once things are open, they are going to go to live shows as much as possible, because having that taken away from their lives just really highlighted to them how important it was for them, but they took it for granted because they didn't realize how much of a big thing it was.
Yeah, taking it for granted. To be quite honest, I've heard a lot of artists speak about this issue, and I think it is of major importance that when the lockdowns are moved and the restrictions are gone, people will treasure just being in the mix with their fans, just having that hello moment, or I've got a couple of CDs that are for sale and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It beats almost everything.
I
But
hope
you
I hope that we don't forget.
Yeah.
because once we get back to it and everything is fine again, then we tend to forget that, but I
Mm.
hope we will always remember how it was in 2020 and 2021, and just, have that help us to not take things for granted.
You have been doing virtual performances. You started out with songs that had been done before, so you're doing other people's songs, but we all know you're a writer, you've produced your own songs. But then when you started that, we started seeing a change in the way you were doing it. Like now you included um, pay points, or or places where people can actually pay if they like your music. How has that been for you? Because I know I can count the number of artists in Zimbabwe that have done that, and I'll say one on their own individual basis, which is you. The rest have been on platforms such as Gateway Streams and Nash TV and stuff like that, trying to perform and sort of get something. I don't know how their payment was, but let's talk about your own issue or your own decision to do that. Um, we, I'm sure it stemmed from the fact that you were not performing live anymore. How was that for you? Did it in some way or the other help, or is it helping in some way?
um it's difficult because everyone is uh, facing difficulties in this lockdown period. So um, it wasn't people paying per se. It was just tips, like, what happens when people play like on the street, or when people bask and play on the street, people will tip them. So it's not necessarily charging people for the music, or getting paid for it per se. But it was just a way to give the people who want to support the music that I'm doing, and what I'm doing, to tip and show their appreciation. Um, it's not a big source of income, so and it's difficult to sustain, um, because what I've been doing, playing music, I mean, producing music every week like that, it's unsustainable. So it's difficult to actually make any meaningful money from it. It's it takes a lot, to be able to come up with a full production like that, week in, week out. So
Yeah.
on the overall scheme of things, it wasn't significant, but it was something.
Yeah, we thank those who manage to tip, which is a good thing. You like to walk around the beach or work at the beach, or you go to a restaurant and you get good service and you tip. So it was I thought it was a very good idea that you brought about, and whoever is willing to do so or who can do so, it would be nice as well to
Yeah.
just tip. But let's talk about that production process for a moment. I'm particularly interested in that because you do everything from, because when we watch your videos, we see you on the congos, on the hosho, on the guitar, on the drums, and then we assume as well that maybe you filmed this thing on your own or something like that. But then maybe you realize, oh, maybe there must be a production house or a production crew somewhere filming you. Let's talk about that whole production process. Where does it all start? So say you're doing a James Chimombe song, where does it start from?
It's always different, depending on the song. Uh, Yeah, it's always different, but I tend to always start with the drums, because it's for me it's the basis of all music. Um, all good music. Um, they say that a band is as good as its drummer. So the drums for me, they set the tone. So that's usually where I start. And then after that, everything else is it just depends on what the song needs and what's the main kind of instrument. When I started doing this, I think I started with Gwindingwi, Gwindingwi Shumba. It was popularized by Thomas Mapfumo, but that version is based on a traditional song, and my intention there was to just show how how Zimbabwean music is put together. Because a lot of people used to ask me, so how does it really work? I mean, there's tutorials out there on how you know R&B music can be put together, pop music can be put together, but there's not much on Zimbabwean music. So my intention was to show, okay, here's how the rhythm guitar comes in, and here's how the lead guitar comes in, and here's how the bass comes in. So, but the response that I got from people when I did that first video, it it um, it showed me that people really wanna see and hear more of of this music from Zimbabwe from the past, and I I saw the value in that, and I wanted to keep doing more of that, and it's unbelievable. Like every time I put out a song that's that was done in the past by somebody, the number of people that come to me and tell me that that prompted them to go back to look at the original, and they have a new appreciation of the original. um, it, 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 it was really amazing to me. And so, in a way, it's been a way to get people to go back to the original, and in a way, it's a way to preserve that music, and keep it going forward, and keep it keep people interested in that old school music.
What do the artists or the individuals involved in creating these masterpieces that you have done, living or dead, what if some of them have got to do, what if they say to you after probably they've seen it? I know maybe you might have sampled a few artists that are still living. Have you ever got any backlash in terms of, hey, you're doing our song and maybe you're not doing it right or whatever it is?
Not really. Um, you know, I've 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 had some interactions with people that have been involved with the original music, um, and some had concerns, but once I told them my intention, and you know what my goal was, from for doing this, they really understood, and but some were actually like uh, uh, very happy and felt honored actually. For example, when I did Vimbiso, um, by Mr. Michel Jambo, and he approached me and really, you know, thanked me for doing that, and if he told me that he felt honored by me having done that, and he really appreciated it. I spoke with I did a Michael Lana's song as well, And we had a discussion about it, and he liked how it sounded, and you know, and he told me that he was back in the studio, um, working on some new projects, and he was really excited about that as well. So yeah, it's for the most part it's been positive. Um, yeah, but for the artists that were concerned about what I was doing, once I explained that my intention was not to infringe really on their rights, but to actually highlight what they've done in the past, uh, and and you know and to explain to them that I haven't made any money from this. It's just for the love of exposing really this music out to people again. Then they've understood, and it's been okay.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. You have done your own music, and that's the reason why we are actually, in fact, having this conversation, because you've got the new song Sando. And from just reading about it, you say it was endorsed, or should I say, Thomas Mapfumo, the legend himself, was like, "This is international stuff." How much of a pat on the shoulder does that give you when you have songs that even the old crooners like Mapfumo will actually say, "This is a really good song"? Because we all know he's blunt when it comes to music. He'll tell you this is
Yeah,
rubbish. How
yeah.
much of a booster is that for you when you hear such
it,
words from him?
it's really encouraging. It's really encouraging. And yeah, it's a massive endorsement, and I really appreciated that. uh he's been really gracious. I mean, and he really kept encouraging me to put more of my music out there, um and to get such an endorsement from him like that, it is a real boost. So I was really encouraged by that, and I appreciated it.
Does that mean we're having and we're hearing more music from you anytime soon?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean that I have lots and lots and lots of music. I mean, um, it, it, it's interesting because some of the interactions, the responses from people, like when I I've done covers. Some people will come and say, this guy. It's like one that I vividly remember was like, this guy is like a workman with without any tools, because uh, he can't do music of his own. He's only good at doing covers. Uh, but I I've got a lot of music, that I've recorded, that I'm recording, and it's sometimes it's hard for for new people to get heard. Um, so it's just a matter of time. I just have to keep putting out music, and the more people get a chance to hear what I do, hopefully the more they'll get to know more of my music.
Wow. We're certainly waiting for that time when we can hear more and more music. I mean, there is music that you have produced before. If you go on Spotify, iTunes, and stuff like that, you'll
Yeah.
find music from you. But I was particularly interested, or I'm particularly interested in when you released Sando, you chose not to share it with these platforms. It's not there. You've got a link to it. It's on your platform, etc., etc. Uh, is that coming from that 1/3 of a cent kind of payment plans with Spotify
No,
and these
no, no,
people?
no. Actually, I was just before I got on the phone with you. I was on this interview with you. I was talking to CD Baby. CD Baby is the company that does the distribution for me, um, and they were telling me that they had a glitch in their system. So it was supposed to have all gone live on all those platforms on Sunday, but for some unexplained glitch in their system, that hasn't happened. So anytime from now, um, it's going to be it's going to be on all platforms. So I'm just waiting, and then once all those links are active, I'm going to share them widely with people.
All right. I was thinking maybe it's coming from Papa, Papa.
No,
It's like
no, but I know it can be really frustrating for us as musicians that uh, you know that we get just a fraction like that. But I mean, what else? What other uh, you know what other options do we have? We just have to keep putting music out there, and hopefully people will see that we are working hard and will want to support us buying downloads, by streaming as much as they can, and and that'll give musicians like me support.
so you do everything from starting with the drums, playing the guitars and everything on all of the songs that you're doing, whether you're doing a cover or you're doing an original song, and then you master yourself as well.
Yeah.
And so it basically you have a studio at the house. Do you get to record other artists or do work with other artists as well?
Yes, I do. On some of the covers I've done, I've engaged other people as well. To I have one of my favorite Zimbabwean keyboard players. His name is Sydney Zangare. Uh, I've collaborated with him the most, I think. I do play keyboards, but I I'm not a natural keyboardist like that. And so whenever I feel like I'm not doing a good job, I always ask him to help me out. Uh, I've had collaborations with Enoch Piroro, Munyaradzi Viali. These are guys that played with Oliver Mtukudzi before, and they live in Canada. And I've had other people. Uh, I've had a saxophonist come in and help me out with that. Um, yeah, so I would have wanted to do more of that, where I involved other people, but because of the lockdown, it's not really possible. So um, it's also out of necessity that I do most of the stuff myself. Not just that that's the way I prefer to do it, but it's out of necessity as well. Um, yeah, but I do produce for other people. I get hired to mix music for other people, and like I said, I do sync licensing for with my music, and yeah, so that's the bigger. Uh, uh, I would say that's my day job. You know, this being a recording artist is more of my passion, but my day job is being an audio engineer and a music industry professional.
You mentioned names like Sydney Tsangara. By the way, I know Sydney. I used to know his father. I used to
Hmm.
be in his choir, the
Ah, nice.
Tsangara family. Yeah,
Small world.
uh, small world indeed. Viali and Piroro as well. All of this work is done online, or they come and you chill in your studio, or you can send them a bit of the music that you want them to play, and then they do it and they send it back.
Yeah. That's how we've had to do it because we're in different places. Um, I record the basic stuff. I send it to them. They add what they add and send it back to me, and we just go back and forth if there's any changes that need to be done. You know, we just share files online and work that way.
It has just given me an idea, that sometimes, there's this whole traveling up and about. I want to go and record in London and stuff like that, But I think what COVID has also taught us, within the many problems that it has shown us, is also that, what, we can still do work even if we are virtual. We can do it while you're in Harare, Canada, Denver, Colorado, Australia, New Zealand, and just share files and then get things done. And it will still all be um, a great production. Do you think in future you would really produce stuff that way and save you the hassles of buying air tickets, food, accommodation, and stuff like that for your
I
players?
mean, it it's a great way to work when you can't be together. But I think it doesn't beat being in the same place and sharing that energy, in the same place. Uh, Sometimes in some projects it's a better way to work, but I think if I could have it my way, I would love to have people in the same place, in the same room, and work that way. But I mean, if you're working with people who know what they're doing, and you know, it's um, it can produce just music that's as good as being in the same room. Um, yeah, it's as long as everyone involved in the project is taking care uh, with the way they record, with the way they, you know, the quality of what they're recording, then it's a great way to work.
Wow. I feel like we know a lot about your small studio. Ever since you started, we've seen the additions. If ever you've moved a picture or a frame, or you've
Uh-huh.
included something in there, I feel like you've let us in truly into the works that you do, and we've so much. We've enjoyed the journey that you started when you started on that very first song,
I'm
and
glad. I'm
and
glad that was my, yeah, that was my intention to just uh, uh, let people in on my process. So I'm glad.
Do you keep your ears to music coming out of Zimbabwe, the entertainment industry coming out of Zimbabwe? You are in America. It is slightly different the way they do things there.
Uh-huh.
And here in Zim or back home in Zimbabwe, do you still have your ears to the ground? What sort of things are you vibing to, musicians that you like?
I try to follow as much as I can, um, but the work just keeps me so busy. But there's a lot of artists that I respect, and I like what they're doing. I like Mike Ngwazi. His stuff, it is really mind blowing. And I like the there's a lot of new music that's coming out, and it's really 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 good. Like that song Juicy, it went viral. It's a really nice song. um and what's his name? There's I think it's Keda or some. I'm not sure if I remember the name correctly. Uh, but he's a reggae artist. I've heard some of his stuff and I really like it. So there's been a lot of good music coming out.
What are what are some of your thoughts on Zimbabwe Music Awards? We have a couple. We've got the numbers coming out anytime soon. We've got the Star FM Awards. We've got, what are your thoughts on that as a musician, on any award or all of the awards?
Yeah, I feel like it's a great thing to appreciate. uh, to award musicians for their work, and it's really encouraging to. Um, I mean, it's really motivating for musicians to be able to be recognized that way. So, yeah, I appreciate that there are people uh, running those awards, and and I hope they continue doing it. Um, and I just hope that in the future there's more, uh, uh, sponsorship from corporates, um, to help take those awards to the next level. And yeah, and just I just want to see, um, the awards ceremonies go to the next level, and hopefully um, get to a point where they're on par with the awards shows that are happening internationally. But I really appreciate and hope that they keep doing that, keep running those awards shows.
Yeah. Well, you taught us a great lesson on the song Sando. You said, "Hey, don't be waiting for this guy to pass and to pass on, so that you start appreciating. Give him flowers while they're still alive. Give him a thumbs up. Appreciate them while they are still there." I know we've had conversations like this before, but I thought for a moment, this is a really good track. It is a song of the times. And let's have this conversation with Zivanai just to basically find out how he's been coping and how he's been doing with, the covers you've been doing on Facebook. And now you've got a brilliant new track. Do you think you can shed light, if you can, on the very next track you are going to be working on? Is it coming anytime soon, or you just hold on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always working on music. So there's a band that I lead here in Colorado. It's called Zimbira. Um, we it grew from mostly uh, people who were studying Zimbabwean music, Americans who were studying Zimbabwean music, and they wanted to have a way to, uh, an outlet to play that music. So um, we ended up just becoming a band, uh, and it's it's a really good band, and we have an album that's coming out soon, um, and there's gonna be a lot of good music on that. Uh, I wrote most of the music on it. Some songs are traditional songs, but most of them are originals that I wrote specifically for that band. So you can look forward to that. But I also have new music, um, that will be coming out soon. Um, that's like brand new music that, uh, under my name. Um, and then also, uh, people should look forward to all the original songs that I did in my basement music sessions, um, throughout the year. I'm just going to compile them into an album because people have been asking me, if I can do that so that they can have a collection of my originals from the basement sessions, uh, just all in one place, so that they don't always have to go to YouTube to listen to them if they want to.
Yeah.
So that album will be coming out soon as well. So yeah,
That
there's gonna be a lot of music coming from me. So
That would be lovely, man. A collection of all of your originals there, from from Facebook and YouTube. Because yeah, every now and then when you want to watch it, you have to go down and to search for YouTube and stuff like that, and
exactly.
it can be a little bit taxing. But I'm loving this Simbira band. I cannot wait to find out what you guys have been cooking. Seems like we are growing the love for Mbira and our traditional Zimbabwean music out there.
Yeah, it's amazing how people have really taken to that over here. Uh, there's some mind blowing mbira players, mind blowing marimba players, and a lot of times I end up actually learning a lot from them because some of them really go deep in studying mbira, and some of them take trips back to Zimbabwe, to really try and go as deep as they can in understanding this instrument. So yeah, it's amazing.
Well, thank you, Zivanai, for chilling with us. It's been really really lovely. I mean, just to get that idea and that brain behind the track Sando, which a lot of people are vibing to right now, and I think it's, as I said earlier before, it is the song of the times. It's a song that truly speaks, and if anybody was going to really paint a picture of what has been happening with our artists or in general the society, as in appreciating people too late, this is the song that does that. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed talking to you.
How's the wife doing?
She's great. She's great.
uh,
Yeah, she's. By the way, you asked me before um, uh, about the production, and she does all the video work, so it's all in house.
wow, I knew she was a photographer, but I didn't know to that extent.
Yeah, yeah, she's really talented, and
She's taken it up a notch, eh?
yeah.
Yeah, congratulations to her as well. I mean,
Thank you.
behind the scenes workers, they are very important. Without
Yes.
them, it wouldn't come out nice.
Uh-huh.
Right. All right. You have a great day in Denver, Colorado. Say hi to your dog.
He's right here with me.
Oh, such a small dog.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
That's all right. Thanks a lot. What's his? It's a her or he?
It's
Him.
a he. It's a he.
What's his name?
We named him Zaya uh,
Was
because he's white as snow, so we called him Zaya.
That's really cool, man. They will always be asking what that name means, and you
Yeah,
have a story from there.
yeah.
Zivanai Masango, have a great day and all the best in your work, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
And that was Zivanai Masango. He has a brand new song called Sando. Go and check it out on all of his music streaming platforms. Right now, if you go on his website, all of his social media profiles, you will find the song. He says he had a little bit of a glitch there with his City Baby guys that were supposed to deliver Sando on all music streaming platforms, but it will be available. You can watch it on YouTube at the moment. Okay, so he's going to be releasing a brand new stuff as well from his Zimbira band, which is coming out soon. And he also promises us new music coming out and a collection of all the stuff that he's been doing on his basement studios. If you haven't checked out Zivanai, on his Facebook, on his YouTube. You have to go out there. Just type in Zivanai Masango and you see all the work that he has been doing when the lockdown started. He is arguably one of the best, or should I say, you look forward to his productions almost on a weekly basis ever since he started doing the Zimbabwean covers. And he continues to be a great artist that we celebrate from Zimbabwe. Go out and check out his brand new song, Sando. And I'll see you later. The name is Joemars.